before submitting their deck list. I'm not sure about that, but I think that was the case. And if you see that you have Zalae against you on round 1 and also live coach in the same group, I would lean towards Handlock if I was Cipher.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you know the two of your potential opponents are going to be running, decks that Handlock can counter pretty effectively. I mean, Zalae is almost guaranteed to play Patron, so Handlock again is a great deck.
Yeah. And the Druid is really interesting from Zalae. I'm kind of excited to see what cards he put in there. Most of the Druid lists that we have seen, they are more or less the same. Like the Druid gameplay, like the general strategy with the combos. I think it's going to mostly stick to the same. But will there be the Savage Combatant, for example?
I've seen a few people say that card has been great for them, but as far as I've seen from playing it, I think you're still better off with a standard Druid list. It's a little unfortunate. I think Savage Combatant is great when you're the first player, right? Like you play it first and your opponent then plays the Shredder or something, and then you're super far ahead, or you innervate it out. But when you're not getting that initiative, it often feels like a dead card. So I think just for that reason, people may stick to more standard list. One thing to know is that Eloise was somewhere in the top legend on her server. On the server she was playing on, I'm not sure exactly which one that was, with a Druid list that did nothing but throw in the Narcissus Aspirants in the deck. Like no Living Roots, nothing else, just straight up the old Shade of Nax, same old deck, working perfectly well. Why change what already works? And she's been doing great.
Yeah. It's great, and I personally I like the what's the card called? Living Roots.
Right.
Living Roots is an excellent card because against those like so-called cancer decks with around the leper nuts and like tend to go face a lot. When you go first or even second against that kind of deck, and if you have the Living Roots in your hand in the opening hand, it's so huge because you're gonna kill off the leper gnome so quickly. Or you just use it to deal 2 damage to take out the Knife Juggler, which would otherwise be 10 damage. So, like the Druid overall, even though there's not that many, maybe like crazy good new cards or like nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular. It just feels like it's even more well-rounded now than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, they've got an interesting array of new tools. Blizzard said, hey, we're going to give you cards that won't disappoint you, the whole Beast archetype. And Mulch, they give us Mulch and Living Roots. Living Roots, I think a lot of people are excited for. Mulch, I think, has room to be played in a controlled Druid. I think there's definitely something to be done in like a mill/control. With the Starfall, with 2 Wild Pyros, Blood Mage, the old type of mill deck, but you're just playing Ancients of War as your top curve, and you just really play it slowly. And Mulch is giving you a tremendous amount of value in a deck like that if you're in a slowish metagame. Of course, you have to be very cautious if it's faster, but that's what Wild Pyros are there for.
I kind of feel like you might be able to just stick 1 Mulch into just a regular Druid list too. Like maybe instead of the big game hunter, if the meta seems like there's not always things to hunt, so... It might be like, okay. I think the card is quite good. Druid just, Druid, it seems like Druid got a lot of consistency with the new cards.
Yeah, alright, so we see a Savage Combatant as you were hoping, but it's in Cipher's side, so I'm guessing either the deck lists were presented wrong or the cameras are flipped up, and Cipher is actually the Handlock player. So
yeah, I believe so. Like on the class screen, we saw that Zalae is the one who has a Druid in his lineup. And Cipher has a Warlock.
Yeah, that's what the screen said, but as far as we're concerned, we can always discuss the matchup by saying the Druid versus the Warlock if we don't need to name names. Should work out quite well. So, Druid mulligans everything, and gets the Innervate start, but with a pretty horrible follow-up, unfortunately for him. It's not looking too great.
Nope. Double Mountain Giants.
Yeah, that's a great start. No BGH either on the Druid side.
Hero power. Oh man.
That's a weak start. I mean, he's got the Keep of the Grove, so he feels happy because he expects Twidrakes to come out at some point, right? You have to expect Twilights.
Alright, now we have the graphics flipped. So, yeah, Cipher in fact is the Handlock player. As we thought. Oh, Darnassus Aspirant from the top to Zalae. That's a great draw.
Yeah, he's probably gonna have to just Dark Bomb this.
Not too bad.
Actually, wait, what does Dark Bombs prevent here? Like a 5-drop? I guess a 5-drop into your Mountain Giant's a big enough threat that you have to remove the Darnassus Aspirant. Because some people I've seen just don't care too much about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have like this instinct that whenever I see it, I'm just trying to kill it as fast as possible.
Alright, yeah, I can totally see that. It's like denying a wild growth. Of course, you'd like to do that.
Yeah, but it's like giving your opponent a coin every turn that it survives, kind of. Not exactly, but in a way.
Alright.
And it does also deal some damage, so. But the Dark Bomb was perfect answer to it, so unless Zalae has a big Game Hunter in his hand, it's definitely like Cipher is on the driver's seat.
What about a Moral Coil here coming out? Nope, unfortunately, because I was gonna say that would be a crazy Hellfire Coil turn, but I mean, would you ever go for a Hellfire Coin Dark Bomb and push for 8? Or is that not worth it?
I would just tap and play the second Giant here. I mean, it's obvious that there wasn't an answer to the first Giant, so what can the Druid do if there's another one on the board? Like, play the second Giant and go for the race. But I mean, I wouldn't hate the Hellfire Coin Dark Bomb either. Because dealing 5 is really hard as a Druid. He can do it with something like a Swipe and Hero Power.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go for your line of play though, the double Giant board. It's really hard to say no to. I mean, when you see a board like this as a Druid player and you haven't played your PGH on the first one, that's looking pretty
clear that there is no answer to a Giant.
Yeah.
Drake would be too risky because there might be an answer to that, so it makes a lot of sense to just add the second Giant.
Again, the power of Handlock. I mean, this is a deck that's been around since, what, closed beta? There's really nothing to say about it that's not been said before. But this is the type of deck that can be played when you find the Giants very aggressively. Like, you're dropping the biggest creatures in the game at the earliest possible time. And it's pretty scary when you don't have the BGHs.
Yeah, it's very efficient. And big game hunters have a little bit shifted out of the meta right now. Like I've seen a lot of people cut it in even Control Warrior and maybe in Druid too. But I would expect that Zalae is still running at least one in his deck.
Yeah, I think it's hard for Druids not to run. Like usually you'll see a mix of BGH, Harrison Jones, Mind Control Tech. You'll see like a mix of all those cards depending on those 2 tech slots that they have open. Because you really need. You got the combo.
Oh wow!
Does he ever just push? And wait for the Innervate combo next turn?
It's a pretty tough turn. Looks like he's gonna deal with one of the Giants here. No.
I'd be very surprised. I think he's just looking to do a lethal next turn.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh man.
How much is this? 16 on board. Well, it's not lethal quite yet, but there's gonna be so many taunts now.
Yeah, there's 22. 22 damage for Cipher if he wants to push it, but he has to start living.
Oh my.
That's a bit scary. He's gonna have to play the taunts, basically. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see Belcher coin Sun Fury to taunt up both Giants.
Yeah, that would be quite good. He can feel safe after doing that.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I really like the matchup, though. This is one of those matchups that used to be like heavily dependent on Druids having BGH if the Warlock got the Giants. Because if there's no Giant, I think it's a lot easier for the Druid to navigate that. In fact, to the point where some people say that Druid is even favored in the matchup.
Yeah, it's that moment when the turn 4 Giant hits the board. If there's a big Game Hunter or not, that's like the turning point. I think this is quite good too. It just saw silence happen, so the 4/10 Twilight Drake looks very good. And even if there is a second silence to deal with the Drake, then the mana should be bad for the Druid player.
All right, so with an Innervate combo, he has to deal 18 to the minions on the board.
Yeah.
He can't do that, and the most he's going to be able to push beyond that is going to be too little to kill his opponent. So he's probably going to have to resort to Keeper of the Grove and swipe in some way. I think this is going to be the way to play, and that makes me love his Keeper of the Grove deal 2 damage to the Giant play even more, because he expects to use a 5-attack minion to finish it off. Honestly, I love the play that Zalae made last turn, just based on his follow-up.
But the Warlock is still like in such a great shape. It's going like all of the Druid minions need to get traded in here. Yeah. The Innervate swipe. Is there any way you can like not Innervate swipe? I don't think so.
Yeah, the moment there's a little bit of damage on the opponent's side of the board. I mean, he's probably considering whether or not he wants to Innervate swipe or use Savage War to clear. So yeah, definitely the only play that he can make is gonna leave him with nothing but a 2-3 and a 2-4 on the board. A 2-2, sorry. All right. Actually, even less than that. I thought he was gonna trade away. That was done, I think, a bit differently than I would have done it. Maybe I looked at this
Wait,
wrong,
what?
but I think he lost an extra minion that he didn't
Yeah,
have to.
I was looking at.
Pretty sure he didn't have to lose that second keeper, right?
Where did the keeper attack?
Well, I don't know what it. He attacked the giant, I think, but I don't know how that happened. Because I thought it was just going to attack the 2-3.
I missed it. I got distracted for just a moment.
Yeah, he played way too fast.
I was also
there.
expecting there would be 2 good keepers on the board after that.
Oh, Ragnaros misses, which gives Zalae at least a little bit more time to fish for another minion.
Yeah, or he thinks so, but not like we know better. Like what needs to happen here is force of nature brought into that for Zalae to survive, but he's not going to do it. That's not a winning play. It's also not the correct play. There's no way he can win the game if he goes for that. It has to be just a shade and like maybe
Wrath for cycle. Yeah, you'd wrath for to draw, see what you find. And then play the shade and hope that things line up. I mean, at this point, we know that there's a guaranteed lethal on Cipher's side pretty much every single time here. Just on the basis of the Iron Beak Owl, letting Ragnaros go from...
Yeah, Zalae knows it too, that like this like 95% or 99 or something, like some very big chance that he's dead here, but he has to still take the risk here. Otherwise,
let's see if Cipher sees the lethal.
Owlsen? No, he did just a Hellfire, like that's good enough.
Yeah, there's like infinite ways for him to kill his opponent.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
He had 2 Hellfires, 2 Owls, Dark Bomb. It's like, how do you not lethal there?
So my question to you is, how common is double owl in handlock? I know that you know, Life Coach plays only the 1. Is double owl always standard, or is that a preference from Cipher?
I like it a lot. I like playing with double owls. There is enough things for both of them. Even like sometimes you can afford to even spend the first owl on your watcher if the situation seems to be that way. And you can also, like against warrior, you can just use one on an acolyte easily. I think it's really good to play too, but some people have got one.
Yeah, I know Life Coach only plays with 1 of them. He feels like it's unnecessary and sometimes redundant. So we'll see if Cipher. I mean, Cipher's list worked out here. I wonder what other warlocks we'll see in the league so far. After this point, Cipher's going to move on to his hunter, and Zalae is going to be going for his warrior patron, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, about that Life Coach only running 1 owl thing, it's actually, I find it interesting. Life Coach has said that you never silence Watcher unless it gives you lethal.
Yeah, Life Coach makes a lot of these statements that he, like, I mean, everybody's got their own playstyle, right, to an extent. Yeah. And I know for a fact that, say, if you look back at the earlier days of Handlock, you could play the Handlock deck very aggressively, and that's where the whole Watcher into Owl play was born. It was when you could actually afford to play Watcher offensively. But maybe Life Coach's argument is, now that everybody's playing solid mid-range hunter lists, it's not defensible to silence your own Watcher when you've got so many targets. And because he uses them so conservatively, he feels a bit better about running only 1.
Yeah. I still do it quite a bit on like turn 6 if I have a Watcher on board. Just go Owl, like for example against Warrior. If I don't have a different threat to play, that I go Owl on it and then follow it up with a Defender of Argus to have that 5/6 taunt which will attack the face. Yeah. That's like the Owl Defender of Argus is a play that I find myself doing quite often.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, just because you look at the fact that you've probably played the Watcher earlier in the game, and the Owl does become a 3/2 with taunt in most cases, unless you already have another threat. So that gives you the ability to counter some of the possible plays that they might want to make by pushing. So you can even do it later in the game, and it's still fine.
But the days of like coining out a Watcher on turn 1 and then playing Owl on turn 2, which used to be a thing, I think those days are over. I don't think any top player would do that play anymore. And I don't think it's correct either.
The metagame, like the deck hasn't changed too much, but the plays that you make with it have. So it looks like Cipher is going to be... I mean, he's going to be losing that 1/1 creeper since it was played before the Ghoul.
Yeah, this looks like a sweet Acolyte turn. I think he wants to keep the coin for the... Maybe Emperor. If he plays the Acolyte here, he can go the Death Spite on 4 and the Emperor on 5. I think that's... Like,
after an Acolyte draw. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
I mean, I wouldn't like totally blame him for just coining out the death spite here, but it feels a little bit like unnecessary.
I mean, what it does is give you more leeway to trade into, say, a Paladin Shred afterwards. I mean, there's a good argument to go Acolyte, Coin, Execute if you're really afraid of Houndmaster, but you can still execute later if there's a Houndmaster that comes down, so it shouldn't be that big
of a threat. His life total is so high that he doesn't need to rush things. Like, he can tank the 40 if there's like a Houndmaster coming to face or so. Okay.
Liking this play, forcing a trade into the...
I like the inner edge too, because now it's like offering a trade with Leo, and it looks like it's gonna get it unless there's a freezing trap. But even the freezing trap value, like, it's not that crazy good.
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing that much. You'd have to play the juggler on the back end, and that just... Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to like do here. I guess juggler, freezing trap, and go. You can't let that trade happen. This is no way.
Yeah, the Acolyte has already gotten 2 cards of value. Of course, you know, the Inner Rage was cycled out, so you could argue that it wasn't really a card draw because you sacrificed 1, but when you're digging for specific cards, it's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. Looking really good for Zalae right now. I don't know what more he could even hope for, to be honest. Like,
Whirlwinds! Just throw in some more Whirlwinds!
Emperor, like,
not yet.
Emperor, Armorsmith, Acolyte, even the Battle Rage to get more cards. The Warzone Commander is there. The Warzone Commander is sometimes a card that if you don't draw at all, then you can still lose. But at this point, like, something really surprising or shocking needs to happen for Zalae to lose this game.
Yeah. And the Beast is going to be taken care of, so he doesn't let Cipher get any value out of the Beast synergy.
Nope.
Not a bad pickup here for Cipher.
Yeah, he had
better than getting something that does nothing at all.
What he really wanted was a Shredder, probably. But I mean, that's still playable. He could have drawn another freezing trap. That's at least like 6 damage. And it goes kind of nice with the mana too. Like at 4 mana, playing a bow is awkward because you just kind of float that 1 mana. You can't get the hero power in. But at 5, it's okay. Could have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's guaranteed damage is going to be usable twice. The thing is, like, your high mains is your biggest threat. You're pretty convinced at this stage, if you're a Cipher, they're going to be able to push for about 15 more damage. But can you kill him before he kills you? And that's always the biggest issue.
There is the double kill command, but he didn't get that early damage in, which sometimes which you would like to have with those, for example, Lepernom's Mad Scientist and things like that. The Shredder, if you play the Shredder is one of the best cards against Warrior. Because of the way that it needs to be hit twice with a weapon, which with the attack in between the weapon hits adds up to usually like 8 or 9 damage. So he did not have the Shredder. But double kill command, I guess there's still a little bit of hope.
Yeah, that's pretty much the saving grace of Cipher, is the fact that if he picks up a quick shot, you know, that represents a lot of face damage that the Warrior can't really dodge, even though he taunts up. And it also doesn't offer any Armorsmith value, so the Warrior has to start fetching it himself. Yeah. If he wants the Armorsmith value, he's going to have to play his own minions to make it work.
This is interesting. Like, you really want to get the Emperor out. I think he's going to do it.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, if you're not going to die right away, then Emperor is almost always the optimal play. And if you look at the amount of cards he's going to be able to play on the back of this, Armorsmith is going to get a huge amount of cards. Wow! Cipher with the Harrison Jones and Hunter.
If he hits the juggle here, he can actually clear the Emperor with the bow because of the 1 damage from the Death Spite Death Turtle too.
What? Cipher playing against Zalae? This was definitely a lineup constructed to beat Patron, right?
That's incredible. Like,
that's insane.
If he hits the juggle here, like, he has to play the Harrison here. There's no way he's not playing it.
Yeah, even if you have a double trade, you do it.
Juggler. This is a huge moment right here.
Zalae has to be surprised at this. Doesn't even bat an eye.
So I think
wow.
I might use the bow now to kill that.
Yeah, I would.
I would probably, like, how do you not? He does have the double kill command, so like every little bit to face at this point is valuable, but still, like, there might be Armorsmiths coming. There's a fair chance that the Emperor would survive another turn if you don't kill it right now. Yeah, you gotta clear it, right?
Yeah, there's no way you don't. I mean, what if you get double executed and then something else comes down, the Emperor gets another wave of reduction, and that's really terrible for you.
Yeah, or something like just as simple as like Slam and Whirlwind.
Right.
Like Armor Smith Slam Whirlwind. Oh, so many disastrous things that can happen.
Yeah, Zalae's still in an okay position because he's got, the discounted Warsong, Armorsmith, Acolyte, and the Execute, so he's able to clean this board up very nicely and present a threat to his opponent that, honestly, at this point, Cipher is going to be, very hard-pressed to answer. But, there's always a possibility that he can do it.
Yeah.
Wait, is Cipher the warrior player?
Yeah, I'm just like looking at it right now. I was just like asking in production. Actually,
okay, wait.
I think Cipher was the bottom player last time. I think that it's only the class
that changed.
Class symbols that are wrong.
Yeah, this is like the overlay. The overlay is a bit hard to follow because both players are playing two similar classes, and we don't really have any info. And sometimes the timing of the changing of who's playing what is a little shifted.
Yeah.
Right. Zalae goes for a more conservative play. No Warsong just yet. He's just developing 2 minions and letting his opponent maybe misplay into them, or at least he's hoping. But it's hard to misplay with a high main. It's really hard.
Like the misplay with high main is to not play it, I guess. It's just one of those things. Like, turn 7 Dr. Boom, turn 6 high main. Well, whenever you can play it, you usually should. Like you need to have a really good reason not to play it when you can, basically.
Alright, so now the question is, does he need to find another, like, is he okay with face tanking that 6? I don't think you ever are.
No.
Oh my god, this is potentially a disaster.
Yeah. This is insane. Like I was already ready to call the game over when
so Cipher is indeed the warrior. Okay.
The warrior, so
Zalae
is the one.
Yeah.
Hunter. Okay.
Zalae is the one with the Harrison Jones. That's all I have to remember because that was a really crazy card to find in Hunter. Not one that I see very often, if at all.
Yeah. So good news for Zalae, boys. He teched in the Harrison at good time, and because of that Harrison, it's like all because of the Harrison that Zalae is winning the game right now. It could still go either way. It's not even close to over, but still.
Well, if that high main does push face for 6 and the kill commands hit, then...
Well, yeah, actually.
That's GG right there.
It is over.
He's got it. That's it. That's game.
Never mind.
Oh man, Zalae with the lethal here. No way he's gonna miss that.
I thought he was like... he still had some options, but no, there's nothing.
What could have prevented it was an inner rage on the Acolyte to get 1 armor into a Whirlwind to get even more cards and more armor to maybe survive a bit longer, but he would have had to find the Execute in the meantime to deal with this high main, and it looks like Zalae will take this, so Cipher is going to get equalized into it, and he's going to have to replay his Patron. Not that you're too worried, because Patron is something you don't expect to lose every single time with.
Yep, it's pretty good. And Zalae, wow, I'm so impressed by that. I wonder if there's some other classes that he was also preparing for. He was probably expecting other warriors at least. And maybe against Paladin? How good is it against Paladin? I guess it's decent. But if you land it on something, a Master for Battle Weapon, all the cards that you draw, it's like your opponent gets them back from their Divine Favor.
Yeah, if you look at... I mean, it's not about inclusion to put Harrison Jones in about anything if you expect Warrior and Hunter to be in the metagame, which I think is a really good call. I mean, it's very standard nowadays to see that. So we'll get to see Zalae's Druid again.
Yep.
So Zalae's going to replay his Druid, picks up a lot of ramp early, and that's definitely what he's looking for.
That is nice. Wildcard and Aspirant, but do you keep both? Like, do you even want to play both?
That's a great question. A lot of people say, like, I was talking to Dog last time, and he said the Renaissance Aspirant is overrated, and you should only play Wild Growth, and you should mulligan away the Aspirant if you have Wild Growth. Oh wow, that's exactly what Zalae did.
It's interesting, yeah. I would have done that too. I think the Aspirant is like the worst one, except in some particular matchup, like against Hunter.
Yeah.
And if you're playing more the token type of deck, then the body is actually quite relevant from the Aspirant to like the 2-3, because you have those power of the wilds and stuff. But I agree, like, I used to think, when I saw it the first time, I was really thinking like, no, it's not really so good, but it does put a lot of pressure, and I do think that the card is really good.
So,
but it's not Wild Growth. I think Wild Growth is still like the go-to card unless you're playing the token version.
Do you think he's going to innervate Dr. Boom?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dr.
I mean, if
3.
there's no execute, he just wins the game straight away. Luckily for Cipher, Cipher has the execute. I mean, it doesn't. What would you save the innervate for? I think he has to do it.
Yeah, I guess Ancient of Lore is the only thing, but since you're already ramping up into turn 7 within, you know, minute and a half, there's no reason not to. Cipher is not too worried about this, though, because it looks like a huge threat, but if you consider the hand that he's got, he's perfectly prepared to handle this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Slam execute pretty good.
Yeah. Draw a card, kill an innervate.
Sorry that happened. Oh, wow.
Cipher with a slight BM. But there's a double Shredder in Zalae's hand, so that's going to put on some pressure.
Put it in the middle, put it in the middle. Okay.
Nicely done. Positioning, Zalae didn't miss that one.
Yeah, for newer players who are a little bit less experienced with this stuff, the reason why the Shredder is placed in the middle because there's a chance that a Direwolf Alpha or Flame Tongue Totem would pop out of it. And those cards buff the adjacent minions with some extra attack power, so it's better to place. There's no downside to putting in the middle, really, but there might be a potential upside, even though it's a very small one.
One day I want to see a card that says when this is on the edge of your board, then gives, you know, like a raid leader if it's on the edge.
Give that minion next to it +1 attack, and then the next one +2 attack. Something
oh yeah, man! It's like for each minion, like the further away it is, the more attack it gets. So if you have the guy on the far left and the one on the far right, like the one on the far just gets +7 attack casually, just like, you know, why not? Oh,
wow.
That's a dangerous card. Very dangerous card here.
Oh man. I think we can see Roar here. It's way too good to pass off. It's 10 damage for 3 mana.
Yeah, I don't think
I go for the swipe over the... Oh, no, sorry. For the Shredder over the swipe. But I mean, even the swipe would be 6 damage too. But probably, the Roar definitely. There's no way you don't Roar right now.
Yeah, I mean, even if you get combo later, like you're losing a lot of damage compared to keeping it for the Roar. Because I mean, you're still baseline here getting 3 damage. So even though you're pushing for an extra 8, you can still push for an extra 8 when Force of Nature shows up. So maybe there's an argument to keep in the Roar, but it's so much damage right now when you don't have the Force of Nature guaranteed.
But it's like with the Force of Nature, it adds actually like less damage because it adds the 8. That's 2 from the hero and 6 from the treant. So by using it here, because of the mana addict, it kind of like adds even
another 2
more damage.
Right. It ends up pushing for 10 instead of 8.
Yeah, and it kind of sets up lethal here potentially. I mean, it's unlikely that the board would survive, but yeah. Oh, that slam looks really good. It helps with the Deathspite Death Rattle to get the full clear. He could potentially slam the Shredder before attacking with the Deathspite on the mana addict to get the Shredder popped very easily.
Is there ever a turn where you just attack into the mana addict and play Emperor?
He could do that. What now? He might die if he does it though, depending on the boombots. So the boombots need to roll less than 5.
Yeah, the boombots are really scary because if you attack the mana addict, you go down to 16, and then if they hit you for 6 or 7, you think you're about to die there most of the time.
I like this a lot more. He has those two unstable ghouls in his hand too.
So here, what I want to see is a Whirling Zap-O-Matic.
Oh man.
This is what I want to see. An 8 damage to face.
That would be crazy.
That was only 4. Only 4 damage.
Ooh, another one.
Gotta swipe the Armor Smith, right?
Imagine if he had a double Roar last time.
Oh my god. I think his opponent would pretty much be dead if that was a swipe top deck.
Yep.
Because double Roar into double swipe would have been lethal.
This right here looks like a fairly easy swipe and, well, hero power. I mean, what else can you do?
Yeah, it sucks that your guy's gonna be down to 1 health, but it's not a prime removal target, so it might stick around for potential Force Roar later.
The game has kind of like escalated in a moment where Zalae is top decking for the lethal in a way. Like Cipher needs time. I think Cipher has what he needs to win the game, but what he needs is time, and it's like how much time Cipher has, it depends on what's on top of Zalae's deck right now.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is Druid against Patron ends up in a position like this very often. Ancient of Lore being probably the only reliable card draw they've got. Yeah. I mean, some people run, Wonder Drake instead of Lotheb, or they make some adjustment to their mid game, depending on the metagame, and it's still making Druid very top deck reliant, or at least starting hand reliant. That's one of the things that Druid definitely is that their initial draw is so punishing when it doesn't line up the way that other classes can recover.
Yeah, like we're talking about like the consistency of Druid. Like I said before the match started when we talking about the classes that with the new TCG cards, I think Druid has become more consistent. For example, like having only 2 of those like wild growth effects, like they don't as aspirant, it adds more of those, so you can more consistently get that like the ramp effect on turn 2, for example. So it's pretty nice. But still, like Druid can often, it can draw too much card draw. Like you might draw 2 lores, you might draw 0 lores. Angel of Lore is such a big deal. Like it on that one card is a lot of power and a lot of card draw, and even the body it gets a 1-for-1 by itself. So like when it comes to card advantage, saying drawing or not drawing a lore is a big deal.
So Cipher is debating whether or not he's got time to play the Emperor.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that's going through his mind at the moment is, can I actually play the Emperor, or am I going to get punished way too hard? I'm only getting punished here if I get comboed down, so I think I can take it. It really depends on that for the most part.
Taking a little bit of risk here. I think he was like he was thinking about the execute. It is his last execute. But on the other hand, how many...
Oh my god, the top deck to rule them all from Zalae, picking up the lethal right off the top. Cipher will go down again with patrons. It looks like Druid is working out for Zalae right here.
Yeah. That is a good card to draw. Just crazy. Wow.
Yeah, just a little bit of a good card to draw. So Archon Zalae is going to be going up 2-1 over Cipher. Again, if somebody loses in the match, it doesn't matter too much for them because they still have, well, it matters, but they can always get through with double elimination. They're not completely out. There's a loser's bracket. They can still go through to move on to the second phase. So Cipher, even if he ends up losing the next game, is not completely out. But, against a Patron Warrior piloted by Zalae, you can't feel comfortable.
Oh man, that's a scary thing to be up against. Zalae could be mixing it up and playing control, but he's like, I don't know, like he's put so much effort into perfecting the Patron gameplay, and he's so good at the deck. It's hard to imagine him bringing something else. But it could happen, but it's unlikely. Based on the slam, I think it will be patrons. I mean, the shield block and death spider are cards that you can find in pretty much every warrior list, but the slam quite often means patrons.
Yeah, I mean, some warriors have run it, but I don't see Zalae playing anything else in this. What I found interesting was that Zalae, last time I saw him, cut the Armor Smiths for double Cruel Task. So he wasn't running Armor Smith in his Patron Warrior, and he lost against a Freeze Mage as a result of that. A matchup that you can very often win because you just get that one crazy Armor Smith turn. He wasn't running it after TGT, and my guess is he expected maybe some Secret Pally and early aggression decks, and so maybe Taskmaster is a bit better. I'm not sure.
That is really surprising to me.
Yeah, it was surprising to us too.
Seems like such a stable card, also because of the battle rage, because it's quite easy to enable not only get armor but also kind of get the replacement card from it with the battle rage. I guess you can get a replacement card from the Cruel Taskmaster too. But,
I think they accomplish a very similar thing if you think about it. The only problem is that Cruel Taskmaster doesn't combo for health. Like, that's the only difference. Cruel Taskmaster will mitigate damage because it will 2-for-1 and maybe sometimes, even better than that depending. But it's not going to give you the potential to get those extra wins off of just a crazy whirlwind like Armorsmith will.
Yeah, it's like you can't say that it's a mistake to run Cruel Taskmaster, but it's a very interesting decision for sure.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening here. Cipher did pick up a second Abusive Sergeant if he wants to double buff the spider to go kill that frothing.
Yeah, doesn't feel too great. Because he knows that just the one whirlwind effect would wipe his entire board clean.
I mean, the problem with that is that you're afraid of whirlwind and you're afraid of a follow-up weapon to kill your animal companion if you do it on turn 4.
Yeah, I like the animal companion here. Probably going face. Yep. I mean, yeah.
That's interesting, because now you're forcing him to have a weapon, basically, but...
Right. Well, the weapon is not... You're not too worried about the weapon, because if there's a weapon, then that was 3 mana 8 damage. So, like, there's a chance that the trade would happen anyway. But I think Zalae has said... I don't... Who was it? I think it was Zalae who said that not to play a Death Spite. I don't remember the exact words, but basically, like, turn 4, if you don't play a Death Spite when it's in your hand, you have to have a really good reason to not play it.
Well, I think I agree, because turn 4 is usually a turn where, like it might suck to take 4 damage from Huffer, right? It does suck, admittedly, to just face tank 4. But if you can face tank 4 at any point in the game, it's probably this early. It's not going to be on turn 8. It's not going to be on turn 9. It's going to be this early. Oh man, that snake trap from Mad Scientist is going to be amazing for Cipher here.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like 3 damage somewhere, I guess. So it's not like... It's not too crazy, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, but the 3 damage matters a lot when you're trying to race a...
Oh, yeah.
A patron. I mean, this is... Like, the only thing that Cipher has to start doing now is calculate how long it's going to take him to kill his opponent, assuming he goes all in. Otherwise, he's going to have to slow down his play a little bit. And that can't feel too comfortable, because he's guaranteed to lose the Spider. He's guaranteed to lose the 1/1s next turn to the Death Spite.
Right.
So he has to at least make them count for something. Whether that's going to be damage or a trade into the frothing, that's going to be up to him.
Yeah, I don't think he can leave the frothing up, because he knows there's the whirlwind effect coming next turn, which is going to be just crazy. I mean, the frothing will get to like 10 attack.
Yeah, Glaive Zuka looks pretty sweet.
Chance the warrior can just raise.
It's hard not to Glaive Zuka, because you can just like face tank 2 and deal 2 with one of the snakes. It's likely going to be a snake, I guess.
Like that, like so you Glaive Zuka and hit the frothing with the Glaive Zuka first, and then you trade the
that.
Wait.
Trade 2 snakes.
It doesn't matter. I think it might even be better, because he can trade 2 snakes now, right? So it might even be better because
actually, it is better, because now he's gonna have to attack into the Spider and take even more damage.
Right, because he attacks into the Haunted Creeper and...
why did we react like that? It's so much better.
Yeah, it is.
Rank 25 casters confirmed.
Oh no. I hope we're not getting sapped right now.
You can't, but you can mulch me if you want. Good luck casting it at 3 mana.
Oh man. But yeah, here I would imagine that there's like a full board clear coming. But can you leave that up? What can you do?
Armor Smith Cruel Task. It's kind of weak.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's alright.
Or just like Armor Smith and
Bow Rage?
Hero Power?
Yeah, I could see the Hero Power.
Yeah, looks like he's going for it.
I like Battle Rage now, because you can develop, like, you draw 2 cards, right?
Yeah.
And you're at 15 health, so...
I guess he has to. Yeah. And he knows that he's not gonna die just yet. Oh yeah, that's shield block.
So Zalae did not cut the Armor Smith this time around. Definitely not. And it might prove to be...
Good for him that he has it in. Or 2 of... Probably 2 of them. Could be just 1. Like, if he has a tendency of cutting those lately, it could be possible that he kind of like decided if he went from 2 to 0, that he landed at 1, like 1 would be good. Because he does run that Cruel Taskmaster, and I think some of the older lists that I've seen from Zalae have been without any Cruel Task, so it's possible that he's running like 1-on-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good split. Going all in either way really means you're teching against something specific.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But how do you tech right now? It's really tough, because I don't think the meta has settled down just yet with the new expansion. So it's hard to predict at times, like what type of decks you should prepare for for more spots.
Yeah, even with Secret Paladin being around, there's still no guarantee that you know what's going to be coming out. So it turns out
be bringing players just because of that. Like I don't think it's like enough players are going to be bringing it. Like I think because Flare is quite punishing. It's 2 mana to cycle it if it doesn't accomplish anything. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it still works overall in the deck. You know, it still accomplishes sometimes. It's a combo piece in some cases.
Right.
So, like, it's not completely standalone useful for the early game, say. But it can be used in a variety of ways. And I think that's what Patron does best, is they have multiple cards that can be used in a variety of ways, and that's what makes the deck so strong. Is they do rely on Patron, they do rely on frauding, but they can also get some really crazy weapons to the face games where they just hit you in the face repeatedly with Death's Bite and then Fiery War Axes, and then they go all in on Acolytes getting buffed by Cruel Task and Inner Rages, and your health goes down and you don't even know what happened. So there's a lot of ways Patron is played, and Cruel Task can fit in either of them.
Okay, yeah. What do you think of this? Like, so aggressive.
Yeah.
Just going for the Warzone Patron. I'm sorry.
It's very Kalenta-like, but it's a very standard play now. When you've got nothing to do, you play frauding, let them answer it, because they will be scrambling. They don't know what you're holding, so it's one of the more bluffy lines of play, but it also turns out to be super effective in many cases.
Yeah, it's really good here. Like, the more I think about it, like like I haven't played much Patron recently, and I don't really like the deck too much, so I don't also like playing it. But like, my first instinct would have been more like defensive type of thing, because after all, you are up against a hunter here, and against hunter, defensive play can work out. But this is far superior.
Ooh, nice pickup here.
Like, this is gonna work out so well. Well, there is the Unleash though, but
I'd consider a Cruel Task.
How much damage can you deal here?
What do you do? No, you have to pop the Spider and Ghoul. There's like... Can you really not? I mean, you're weak to what? Iron Beak Owl Unleash? That's about it, at most.
I think it's gonna... Yeah, it looks like he might go for the Ghoul here. Like, he should. Because like, he hasn't seen any Unleashes yet. It's very likely that there's an Unleash. And the only way you don't die to an Unleash after like doing this thing is by...
Yeah, he's got 15 damage this turn. Actually, he can get another... Oh yeah, if he makes room for the Cruel Task, he can get... Oh, he's gonna be 15 out of the way. He can get up to 16 damage, I think. He's gonna be a little short. I'd probably consider the Ghoul. Maybe I play Patron too scared, but I would probably Ghoul here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to Ghoul. Oh no, I think he's dead. Unleash kill... No! Oh yeah, he's dead!
He's dead to Unleash Kill Command, exactly, I think.
Wow, because he doesn't have enough... I think he countered that Unleash Kill Command. Like, there's not enough mana for Unleash Kill Command, really... 0 power. But there's the Abusive Sergeant.
Well, I mean, 7 plus 5 is 12 anyway. It doesn't matter. He still had, like... I really thought Zalae was gonna play that Unstable Ghoul. Yeah, why not? Why not, Zalae? Why not?
It looks like he would have still died to the Owl.
You saw him shake his head there at the end, and he was like, "Why did I do this? I think I'm getting punished."
There. Like, that was not quite right. Yeah, I actually miscounted there. Yeah.
Oh,
so he didn't need the abusive after all. But wow, that's really surprising ending to the game. It looked so good for the Warrior.
What's going on with Patron nowadays? Yeah, he did.
Wow, how can that happen?
Zalae, I think he realized that he was dead to Unleash Kill Command at the end there. I saw him shake his head, and I think that's basically an acknowledgement that, hey, I could have played the Ghoul and not died to Unleash, because then I'm forcing him to have the Iron Beak Owl, and thus I'm in a much better spot. But he decided not to do so.
That definitely went wrong. Like, I mean, he exposed himself to the Unleash completely, and not only that, like, he had a good optional play. Like, he could have maybe only kill off the 2-1, just leave the Haunted Creeper be. Go for shield block, heal back to, what was it, like 17 or so?
He was at 12 health at the end, so he could have just healed up, you know, after attacking into the creeper, let the War Song and the Frothing do what they want to, and he just played the Ghoul. So you're forcing your opponent to have a lot of things at once.
Oh man, Zalae was like shaking his head, and I think that I don't really know. Like, I would like to ask him, like, what happened there. Like, why did he choose that line of play? Because
there's probably a reason. He's a great Patron player. So, you know, all these players know that they have their own play style. They've got their own preferences. So obviously, sometimes we'll disagree with them. Doesn't mean we're right. Most of the time, maybe that play worked out. But we'll see. For now, we've got a Patron mirror match, and it looks like we're gonna see Patron fail against everything but Patron, which I find very interesting.
Patron is going to get a win finally, but...
And the worst part is it's going to be the match, too. Whoever wins this is going to be winning the best of 5 and be relegated to the loser's bracket to play another match later today. They still have a chance to move on to stage 2 of the group phase. But, yeah.
Man. What a hand from from Cipher here, but Zalae has access to the coin Harrison Jones. It doesn't feel perfect because there's the Acolyte on Pearl as well, so that's gonna draw an extra card, but I think you have to get rid of that Deathbite right now.
Yeah, the biggest threat in a Patron Mirror is the first guy who gets Patrons with an Inner Rage Deathbite pop is basically ahead almost every single time.
Yes, that's how I feel about it as well. Like, it's such a big moment, like whoever gets to go off first, it's really hard to clear fully. And sometimes the best thing you can do against it is just to like make your own patrons, but that's like it's still the advantage stays on your opponent's side.
I think it just got better for Cipher. Double Armor Smith execute. Next turn you play that Grim Patron, Inner Rage Whirlwind, and that's going to be a really tough spot for Zalae to answer to.
Wow. He could just play one Inner Rage here too, though, because it's so sweet on the Acolyte that gives him the trade. I wouldn't be too surprised if he went for that, because I think just one Inner Rage on the Whirlwind might be enough. Because he does get 4 patrons just like that, so I wouldn't hate him for playing one of the Inner Rages here, but I can also understand if he wants to get more greedy.
I like your play. I think the two plays are defensible. So he decides not to play the second Armorsmith. Yep. That means he wants to have room for those patrons.
So he also he keeps the second Inner Rage, so I would expect him to go for the all-in play, so to say. Next
time. We say all-in, but we know it's not, because it's basically the winning play in a mirror match. You know, both Druid and Warrior, like Patron Warrior struggles against Patron Warrior. So that's a funny thing. It's one of those things. They just don't have enough executes to really deal with a huge Patron board. And nobody plays Brawl. I think you played Brawl in Patron a while back.
Well.
Right.
Queuing into Colento and I beat him 3 times on the ladder. Yeah.
Brawl MVP.
Yeah, but I still don't know if it's really worth it. But I had some decent I had decent success with it when I was trying it out. But that was it helps in the Patron matchup because you can have a Fiery Warx out and then you are guaranteed to get a full clear. But in some other matchups, it's just what do you got for it? What do you got a card draw and then you just you get your combo to go off slower.
Whoa, whoa! Did he just kill his own page? Is there an argument for? Why wouldn't you ping the other one?
I guess he didn't want the full board, but I mean.
Why? Okay, well maybe he doesn't want a full board. I can't fathom why though. But.
If he just went for one Inner Rage on Whirlwind, he would have had a 3-1 and 3-2. No, 5-1, 3-2, and 2-3-3s.
Yeah, 2-3-3.
So the effect of the benefit of playing the second Inner Rage in this situation was having one more toughness on one of your patrons, right?
Yeah, because you didn't lose the first one. I really thought Cipher would ping the second one. Was it
really?
Well, that's the question I'm asking. We'll see exactly if it works out. I mean, at the moment, we have to admit that Zalae is struggling for answers. I mean, he's got the slam, but if he had a weapon, he'd be in a much better position than he is right now.
Yeah. I don't know about that, I understand he doesn't want the full board, but that Inner Rage,
I think I know what I know what the reasoning is. So the way you lose against another patron when you're the patron who spawns the Grim Patrons is he goes for a crazy frauding swing turn. The problem is, this could only happen if Zalae had, say, Emperor Thorson into a turn 7 complete crush with fraud, a frauding Berserker Warsong Commander play.
Sorry, I don't know. I couldn't follow you there.
Well, basically, if you spawn a lot of patrons, the only way you die is if your opponent's is playing frauding berserkers and just abuses you for playing too many patrons.
I was the kind of the play that I was most interested in was that the decision to go for 2 Inner Rages instead of one and Whirlwind instead of one Inner Rage.
Inner Rage and Whirlwind, yeah, of course.
Because there was the difference was that one of the patrons had one extra HP. I don't understand how that can possibly be worth an Inner Rage. The second Inner Rage.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I was talking about maybe spawning more patrons, but if the only difference you're getting is one extra toughness, then no, you're
if you spread the Inner Rages on 2 separate, okay.
All right, well let's see if Cipher is still gonna go away with this. I mean, he's in a great position. He's got the board. He's gonna be hitting his opponent in the face for at least 12 per turn at this rate. And until Zalae picks up a crazy swing turn to just wipe the board, it's looking a little grim. I think Zalae might be trying to set up for a frauding punish, which could happen as early as Maybe next turn somehow.
He needs to. No, there's not enough mana. Like he could put like a Warsong Frothing double Velvin, but this
Yeah, it's
that's
not
not
gonna be.
42 damage. He needs to pick up the Emperor first. It just has to happen. So I think at this point, like it should be desperate enough to just like shield block and hope for the best, I guess.
So if you shield block, you're hoping for a weapon, ideally a Death Bite.
Yeah, that's but
that would be very good for him. Picks up an Acolyte, not quite what he wants to see, unfortunately.
Doesn't do anything.
You probably have to play it either way, unless you really want the armor up.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. He could just slam like one of the 3-2 patrons or something and armor up if he wants to take a little bit of pressure off the board.
Yeah, I could see that. But again, it really depends on whether or not he thinks he's going to be able to reverse sweep with the Frothing turn. We'll see if Zalae can pull it off. This is looking a little difficult. It's a position every patron player's been put in at least once.
Oh yeah.
When you're playing against your own deck and they get the initiative on spawning them, it's really tough. Uh-oh.
Wow. He could charge forward, but it doesn't really accomplish that much. I think it's just like a fairly clean cut Emperor here. No?
Hold on. I think he's trying to. He's really trying to get him out, like get himself out of reach of the Frothing reverse sweep.
Right.
I think he's really scared of it. He seems to have been playing around that for a while now, and it's very consistent with his line of play. So Cipher here picking up, like he picks the line of play and he's consistent with it. Can't fault him for that.
Nope. I mean, no Emperor has been played, so he knows that there's only, at best, there's only one Frothing charging at his face, and
even with double Whirlwind, it's still
not and even with double 2 Whirlwinds, it's like, So maybe he's a little bit overcautious, but we can't blame him. I mean, he's so far ahead that he can just play as safe as he wants to at this point. Like at 50 HP, what can go wrong? Wow.
Yeah, there's so Zalae here is facing down 17 damage next turn. So even if he armors up, he's dead. The only way for him to win would have been to pick up like an Emperor here. Oh, he's gonna do some work with the Whirlwind. He's gonna remove. Oh wow.
Yeah, and I can
actually he's got a full clear with Whirlwind Death's Bite Execute, doesn't he?
Huh?
Yeah, I think he did. He's gonna go for a much more logical play, which is this one.
Oh, I like it.
I'm loving this Zalae, abusing the full board from your opponent, so he can't spawn.
Look at the armor! Look at the armor!
Yeah, it's not looking, very... Oh my god, 38 armor, and it's not over. It's gonna keep stacking up a little further to 41 here. Oh wow.
71! What's the most HP you ever seen in a
tournament format? I think I've seen like 60. 71 is a new record for me for like the amount of armor stacked up with a full health pool.
Really hilarious.
With a full health pool, no less.
71.
Wow, new records.
This should be like an additional win condition, like the first to kill your opponent or to reach 100 armor.
Oh man, Warrior has the edge. Disappointed.
That is crazy. I mean, Trump wasn't safe at 50 HP.
But 71, surely you are. I mean, but we have to say one thing, right? Zalae is still in this.
Yeah, I mean...
you know, not...
If he gets like board control, he needs to swing multiple times with the same stuff. But let's say he gets a full board of patrons and Cipher is out of gas. I mean, those patrons are going to eventually deal that 70 or 80 or whatever they have to.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Zalae is going to be hoping for, because that's the way he wins this game, is by getting his own patron board and forcing Cipher to have the answer. And everybody knows how difficult it's been. We just saw Zalae struggle for removing patrons. So if Cipher gets those patrons, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Right.
And that would be crazy if Zalae picked this up.
Oh, this would be like a match or game to remember if there was a way for him to like reverse sweep, because it's not impossible at all. But it is like it looks unlikely still.
Yeah, so like 72 health is still a lot to go through.
Yeah, like Cipher has so much time to pick up the like a good enough combo for finishing off the game.
Yeah, and with 2 weapons, I mean, you can just hit the face repeatedly, and that should do it. Zalae is going to use up an inner rage and an execute. He can't afford to tank 5 damage. He knows that much.
Yeah.
So again, can't fault him for making those plays.
I wonder if he's going face here, because it's like it doesn't really like matter if your opponent is 72 or 68.
Oh, you're making me cry, Savis. This is.
But I mean, there could have been an argument made in favor of attacking because it sets up the whirlwind effect. Just because of the whirlwind effect for now. Yeah, the damage like not so relevant right now.
Yeah, but Zalae probably has seen a position like this before, and he might have recovered from it. Because his play looked really clean. You know, he seemed to know how to navigate the turn that he was up against. Yeah. Even though he ended up giving his opponent a lot, and I mean a lot of armor.
Yeah, Zalae knows that his win condition at this point is to exhaust Cipher on the resources, basically.
Right. Well, let's see what Zalae picks up. Again, it's all a matter of decent top decks.
Oh.
Would you? No, you can't go for it. You've already used 1 War Song. You have to keep the second one for patrons, or do you?
Not necessarily. I mean, patrons don't need to charge.
So would you ever go for a War Song? I think you have to wait still for patron, even if you've got the Whirlwind Battle Rage.
Like the Whirlwind is so valuable here. Like the Whirlwind is the most valuable card in his hand. But the charging thing.
I might attack here, right?
Yeah, to set up the Whirlwind from that. Maybe because of that. But okay.
Zalae plays it slow. And Cipher's just gonna keep equipping weapons and trying to exhaust his opponent. How much damage is that with Warsong, Ghoul plus Cruel Task? That's another 5 damage from the minions alone.
5, that is true.
So he's gonna be 2 off lethal.
No, not quite there, just yet.
Yeah, a little off lethal, but
Zalae looking for the patron.
Zalae looking to armor up a lot here at this point, because anything kills him almost. With the Death Bite set up in Cipher's hand, it's really difficult for Zalae to think that he's safe.
Do you battle rate just for 1 here? Okay.
Looks like he does.
Oh man.
Stay consistent and battle rage again.
Yep.
Picks up an Acolyte.
Would have been pretty weird if he just chose to not suddenly like cast the second battle rage.
Yeah, play 1 and don't play the second one. Not the consistent play we expect. Now, keep in mind, Cipher hasn't played Defrauding yet, as far as I know. So he just has to pick that up, and that's game right there.
Oh, that's not enough.
He's just shy. Still 1 off lethal.
Yeah, he's 1 off. Next turn, he's gonna be 3 off. But I mean, eventually Cipher will draw that Frothing Berserker, and then it should be like game over as soon as Cipher draws it. Like he has all the time in the world. But yeah.
I mean, if you play what, like the ghouls here, you know you're fitting your opponent cards. The Cipher execute the 1/3 because he doesn't want his opponent to draw. That doesn't seem very sensible. Is he ever pushing for face with those cards?
I think he just.
Or is he waiting for Frothing and just letting his opponent do whatever?
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's assume that Zalae fills up his board with patrons.
Right.
Cipher can just wait for his Frothing and then counter those patrons with his Frothing play, and so it almost doesn't matter if Cipher gets if Zalae gets a bunch of patrons on the board, because if you can Frothing them down, then you win.
I almost feel like nothing matters in this game except like the moment that Cipher draws the Frothing. Like how does Zalae not die to a Frothing Berserker charging with all those whirlwind effects and I don't know.
Yeah, he'd have to pick up an Armor Smith and a crazy whirlwind turn of his own, but it's not looking likely. Okay. Alright, so there's an Emperor Thorson for
it's a card.
Zalae. Yeah, it's gonna slow down the bleeding for 1 turn at least.
But again, yeah. Well, if there's a like I believe Cipher has 1 more patron too, so that would also do it.
Right. There's like 3 outs that are guaranteed wins for Cipher at this point. That's not one of them.
Well, that doesn't do it just yet.
Oh man, is there a chance?
Well, I mean, yeah, he could go for like Warsong and I guess like double ghoul and no, no, not quite.
He's short of like he's
uh,
almost got it. I couldn't. I almost wouldn't be surprised if he went for a crazy battle rage all in. But if he doesn't get a war song frothing, then the frothing never sticks, and that might be how he loses.
Yeah, you can't play the war song. I think you just wait.
So you attack
the frothing is no longer a win because he has to first play the frothing on the board, and then it needs to get to survive one turn. So hero power pass or maybe execute and use the weapon to clear the emperor if you're worried about it.
Yeah.
Or this is good too. Yeah. I think I would have taken the 2 extra damage and denied the draw, but I guess maybe he wanted to give that draw away.
Oh my god, is this a turn where Zalae is able to come back?
It could be.
This could be it. This could be... We're nearing the last few cards in his deck.
Oh, he's definitely gonna see the patrons here. I'm sure he's gonna see patrons. He's probably going all in. So War Song, Frothing, Crimpate. It should be patrons, right?
If you do that, you have to play the Unstable Ghoul to go with them.
Or do you just go with like double Frothings or something?
So you've seen the Execute, so maybe you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you just go all in at this stage. Zalae knows that he can't let this game drag on and on. Like, there's no way for him to win if he does so.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, well played by Zalae so far. There's a tiny chance that Cipher just blanks on the follow-ups. I mean, keep in mind, Cipher can't even cycle the Battle Rage for 1 card.
Oh, man.
He's not even on 29 health. He's so healthy that it's almost dangerous.
Wow.
Battle Rage still not cyclable for 1 card. So Zalae is going to be able to punch face for quite a bit. So, 13 health here. For Zalae, is Cipher picking
another
up?
War Song.
Not what he wants.
It doesn't do it.
I think you have to go for it. You have to go for the Battle Rage turn. I don't care what you want to do here. Like this is getting really dangerous.
Yeah.
Really scary for Cipher.
It is.
Wait, wait. He could pull off the same trick that Zalae pulled off against him. Fill up that board and then, yeah, whirlwind it off. He could do it. Yeah, he's got the double ghoul and he's got the whirlwind effect with a war song.
I mean, the thing is that with the first whirlwind, there's already going to be like the patron and the war song dying. Okay, I mean,
he's doing it, or is he just wiping the frothing and the war song?
Right.
Looks like he's just wiping the frothing and the war song and going for a single card Battle Rage. Could Zalae take this?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Is there enough whirlwinds? Yeah, there should be. There should be enough. Yeah. Oh!
More health here for Zalae.
Oh, baby.
So Zalae here has to lose one of the patrons, right, to remove some damage?
Yeah.
Or?
Like, I don't think Zalae is looking at a lot of this because there's 2 whirlwind. It's like what Cipher can do is he has the whirlwind and the unstable ghoul. And with those 2 combined, like he should be able to get enough damage from his opponent's patrons, like enough buffs. It should be enough.
Yeah, that's a really scary position. Because I was gonna say, like, how does Cipher go through the unstable ghoul from Zalae? The only way it works is if he's got a weapon or a cruel task to buff up his own ghoul. Otherwise, that unstable ghoul from Zalae is gonna be enough to stop him.
Yeah. I mean, Cipher can cruel taskmaster his own ghoul.
Right, and that will clear it, and then he can actually go to the front and win.
Then both of the ghouls blow up, and the frothing is gonna hit for 9,000, or maybe.
Yeah, something along those lines. I know it's a damage count that shouldn't exist, but it does.
Yeah. So this should be game over right here.
Unless Cipher misplays.
Yeah, looks like Zalae is not even gonna go for the shield block. I don't know how many cards he has remaining, but it's not many.
We got like 3 left, I think, at most.
Did he not get the armor up? Oh, he did get it.
He got 2 health.
But still.
Is that enough for lethal?
Yes.
Yeah, with the ghoul, definitely.
Oh, he didn't even need it.
Oh, never mind that. Just got a double frothing. A casual double frothing turn.
Wait. No, it's not. Yeah, use the cruel task on one of their opponent's patrons, right?
Yeah. To maximize it. Or actually, it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
You just need the extra body on the board at this stage.
Yeah.
And Zalae will go down. Cipher will take it over the Master of Patrons. It turns out getting your patrons first is always good.
Yeah, I mean, good effort from Zalae. I mean, he got rid of almost all the armor. And Cipher was up to, I believe, 48 was the highest armor count he had in that game.
Yeah,
so he was down to 4 on the armor, but still full HP. So.
Oh god, poor Zalae having to deal with that. And now we see the typical weakness of a patron versus patron, I guess, is when it comes down to the board that you're getting back, you're exposing yourself to dying to a single or 2 frothings. So it's a very volatile matchup, and it hinges on whoever gets, you know, that inner rage whirlwind turn first. I feel like it comes down to that way too often. So when you see the matchup, you kind of already know where it's going to go, because most of the lines of play are very common and similar.
Right.
Alright, so Cipher is going to be moving on. He's got his win in the pocket, doesn't have to bother with this anymore. And we've got Zalae, which is going to be playing against the loser of the next match. We're going to have Life Coach versus Lostov coming up. I want to ask the admins to make sure the Life Coach can actually play, because he ran into a computer virus. Earlier he was supposed to play the first match, but then we had to schedule Cipher versus Zalae. So apparently
Life Coach has everything fixed now, so...
The virus is dead.
Yes.
That turns out we can actually make some pretty good antivirals. So we'll be, watching Life Coach play versus Lostov. Again, Lostov is a player who did very well in the kickoff season of Starladder. A player that very few people know. He plays for the Hellraisers, if I'm not mistaken. It's an European team, and he's kind of eaten up all the Archon players in the kickoff season. He almost killed every single player from the Team Archon. The only player he didn't get to beat is Firebat, because Firebat ended up in the finals, and Kolento beat Lostov by a very, very close margin. So maybe this time he'll be able to go a little bit further, but he's gonna have to fight Life Coach. So that's pretty steep.
Yeah, not an easy task to do. Life Coach hasn't been running all that hot just lately, but like earlier this year he was like the #1 player in the world for quite some time, and still definitely like up there. So I'm excited to see what kind of decks and what if there's any new innovations coming out of Life Coach potentially now.
Yeah, he's a lot more emotional than he used to be too. When you watch him play a game now, he's in that trance of full focus, of course. But when something ridiculous happens, I see him look like he's tilted more than I used to, which I find kind of interesting. His character about Hearthstone has evolved over time. Yeah, exactly. That Jedi mind tricks is exactly what I see when he makes that stuff, trying to control the cards. So, guys, before we cast Life Coach versus Lostov, we'll be taking a short break, of course. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about a few minutes. Shouldn't be too long, so see you then. Have a nice one.
From east to west, heroes are sent, seeking glory in the greatest of events.